What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're gonna be having some Trump rally talk. I've been watching the Sunday shows, and it encouraged me to get on live this morning, just for the sake of this morning. President Trump has been all over the Sunday shows, for lack of a better term. Trump has been all over the Sunday shows because he has indeed said a few things that are fairly controversial. So that is what we're going to be here discussing today. I want to get you folks' opinions on this because perhaps it is something that may resonate with you. Perhaps some of these statements are things you may agree with, others may not. But I certainly would like to discuss this with you folks. Now, he had a rally in Ohio yesterday. This is in regards to a rally President Trump had in Ohio yesterday. You will be seeing some clips on it. But some very controversial statements was made. Number one, suggesting that on day one, if reelected, he would pardon those who were convicted and sentenced on January 6th. So right off the bat, do you believe the individuals that have been sentenced to prison should all be freed on January 6th? Because I don't even think he used the word some. I don't think he even used the word some in regards to pardoning folks on January 6th. So we did a video, I believe it was last week, where a January 6th protester, we'll leave it at protesters, we'll term them as protesters, but a Tennessee sheriff's deputy who was off duty at the protest on January 6th, still wearing his sheriff's deputy bulletproof vest. He was wearing his sheriff's deputy bulletproof vest and also had on I believe it was a 3%ers militia pin or something like that. Anyway, he beat the hell out of a Capitol police officer while wearing metal brass knuckles. He received 6 years in prison. Yeah, DJ Julio, thank you. Thank you very much. Happy Sunday to you. He received 6 years in prison. That sentence was just handed out a few weeks ago. So if Trump is promoted to president, do you think that guy should get out of prison? He used metal brass knuckles on a Capitol police officer because Trump didn't say some. He's suggesting he would pardon those who have been sentenced from January 6th. So we're going to be talking about that first. In the comments, Capshine God says, you still believe in USA president, all corrupt. Yikes. Now, continuing on, he also suggested that, this is also making the news rounds, him suggesting that immigrants are potentially not people. I don't know if he said some. I don't think he said all immigrants are not people, but he certainly said it's a reference that immigrants are not people. And once again, that's that's going to be added on to claiming they're vermin, poisoning the blood of the country, things like that. So more anti-immigrant talk. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss it. But I want to play a couple clips from you. It's not going to just be me bloviating throughout the program. I want to hear from you folks, and I do want you to hear some of his quotes. And of course, we have to talk about Mike Pence, because Mike Pence had an interesting discussion in regards to what he feels about Trump being president again.
More secure, and saw conservatives appointed to our course in a more peaceful world. But that being said, during my presidential campaign, I made it clear that there were profound differences between me and President Trump on a range of issues, and not just our difference on my constitutional duties that I exercised on January the 6th. I mean, as I have watched his candidacy unfold, I've seen him walking away from our commitment to confronting the national debt. I've seen him starting to shy away from a commitment to the sanctity of human life. And this last week, his reversal on getting tough on China and supporting our administration's effort to force a sale
So this is Mike Pence just yesterday going down a laundry list of reasons why he will not be endorsing President Trump. Now, we're going to talk about this from the standpoint of, is there anyone? Wow, S. Fry Daddy with the train. Thank you. Wow, wasn't expecting that. Already beautiful. Thank you for that generosity. Appreciate that. We're going to start off right off the bat by asking, is there anyone from Trump's administration that he appointed to various positions? Do any of them support him? Has any of them came out and publicly supported him? I assume Ben Carlson probably would be supporting Trump, but we do have to ask that, why are there so few members of Trump's own administration that are supporting him? And I see in the comments, Craig Beats says, Mike, who? Mike, the guy that Trump appointed president, or appointed VP. That's who Mike, Mike.
Appreciate the question. And it should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Look, I'm incredibly proud of the record of our administration. It was a conservative record that made America more prosperous, more secure, and saw conservatives appointed to our course in a more peaceful world. But that being said, during my presidential campaign, I made it clear that there were profound differences between me and President Trump on a range of.
So perhaps he should have spoke out a little bit sooner. I don't know what Mike Pence is doing now, but once again, that is we have to ask, is that a strike to President Trump and his own vice president? Has that ever happened before, where a vice president decided not to speak favorably of the guy they served under? I mean, did Dick Cheney do it to Bush? I mean, did Mike? We know Biden has not done it to Obama. In our lifetime, have you ever heard of a vice president speak ill of the guy he served under? I've never heard of it. George H.W. Bush did not do that to Reagan. Al Gore did not do that to Clinton. Never has that happened before. But as we stated, it doesn't appear as if any of Trump's cabinet members are endorsing him. Why is that? So these are some of the things we're going to talk about today, but we'll go straight to the box and bring on up Furback, certainly a subscriber to the program. Good afternoon, Furback. Mike Pence not endorsing Trump. Does that mean anything?
I think it all means a lot. It's not just Pence. You know, I tell a lot of people on this app that why not believe the people that worked with this man? Why won't we believe them? Tim, I like your show. You seem like a nice guy, but why wouldn't I believe anything the people that love you, work with you, know you say? I don't understand their logic.
So what you're saying is because just about everyone who had an inner workings with Trump does not seem to support him, or many of them speak ill of him. We, as the general public with no inside experience with Trump, should certainly pay attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to believe it, but whatever opinion you form about the guy and whatever he does, that counts.
Yeah. Yeah, but then why do you think there's so many members of the public that are ignoring all of these people? Because you're right, his entire administration seems to be negative on Trump, but yet his support is continuing to go up.
Well, maybe because he's doing it for them, I guess. I don't know.
Well, but isn't that what he's supposed to do, though? He's supposed to do it for the people.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, they done bought into these indictments or attack against them, and they done, you know, I hate to repeat the same narrative, but if it quacks like a coat, it's probably a coat.
I've never heard of that. You said if it quacks like a coat, it's probably a coat. I've never heard that before. But you're not saying that all MAGA are cult members, are you?
No, but if the greater percentage of them, then you kind of got to fall in line, you know, majority rules.
But because you're not the first person to suggest that MAGA's a cult, but I have to ask, what makes you think that MAGA's a cult? What have they done to make you think that that's the case?
Well, we just talked about it. I mean, why wouldn't we believe the people that work with this man? I just don't. I don't understand that logic. I mean, like I said, Tim, you're a great guy, but you know, if you had ex-wives and brothers and nieces and sisters and all saying disparaging things about you, maybe we should look into that.
Yeah, but I got to keep you away from my ex-wife, especially my baby mama there.
I hear you, though. I hear you.
All right, so
I mean, that's just what I don't understand, you know. And I tried to get in on it the other day. You know, I don't understand this narrative that Trump is America first, and you know all the sacrifices he's made compared to the Biden family. You know, I heard someone talking about Biden's kids and the drug habits.
yeah,
To my knowledge, both of his kids served. So did the dad, in one form or the other. You know, this guy, you know, Trump, you know, he donated money to different politicians and such not. But how can you compare their service to the country to his? I don't get that logic.
yeah. I want you to hear something before we move it on. I want to get your opinion on this because this is Trump in reference to if Joe Biden is reelected.
And remember this, Joe Biden is a great threat to our democracy. He's a tremendous threat to our democracy. His incompetence is the number one reason. Also, he uses the Justice Department, the FBI, to go after his political opponent, happens to be me. How are we doing? And he's
So, to interrupt it now, he also went on to suggest that if Biden is elected, there may not be any more elections in the future. Why do you think he's saying that?
Because that's the narrative on him. He's just trying to flip the script. Like I said, I you know, it's politics, I get it, but that's because that's what he's been hit with. So now he's trying to say the old daughter and man is going to do it. I don't understand how a sleepy person can, you know, mask all these words against someone. Is he slow and incompetent and dementia, or is he just this rope-a-dope, you know, genius here? Please, someone explain that.
Well, he really does seem to think that Biden's weapon out. He really does seem to think that the indictments against him are coming at the hands of Biden. So he is blaming it on Biden. But at the end of the day, you're suggesting obviously that Biden ain't got shit to do with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, how can he? You know, I mean, is he sleeping dementia guy? And also, I mean, people with dementia don't seem like they can put together these schemes and scales that he's being accused of.
Well said.
Unless he's a super dementia patient.
A super dementia patient. I got to move it on for back. Appreciate you coming through. All right. Super dementia patient. All right. Looking in the comments, and I see Mal Peace that I agree with, bro. Make it make sense, says Democracy Matter. Hunter is really the president. Really? Twinkle toes. You think Hunter Biden is really pulling the strings and running President Biden? Hunter Biden's controlling his father. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Usually folks would suggest it's Obama. Obama's behind the scenes pulling the strings, but Hunter. Trump said that Biden beat Obama. Did he really? I never heard that. Trump needs to bring back the top secret files and stop showing people in at dinner parties. So you talking about Kid Rock now. All right, let me continue back to the box, because that's what we're asking is, does any of this concern you at all? Does any of this, is this stuff that you actually believe? Does it make sense? I want to, before I go back to the box though, I do want you to hear another clip that I do believe is going to be played in the news rounds, and I think it's worthy of discussion.
humanity. I've seen the humanity, and these are bad. These are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people. We have so many people being hurt so badly and being killed. They're sending their prisoners to see us. They're bringing them right to the border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hardened criminals, and we've got hundreds of thousands of them. And we're not going to take it. We're just not going to take it. They are destroying our country. I'm telling you.
Listen to this piece right
He's
here.
the worst president we've ever had and the most incompetent president we've ever had.
Listen to the crime
and
numbers.
He's also the most crooked president we have ever had. Now, other than that, I think he's doing an excellent job. Do we agree? Other than that, quite good. All right, JD? those few things.
Okay, there's another part of this I want to play, but we're going to bring up Drew. I want to hear it now. He don't think his followers can't find Rick in Texas. I don't quite get that. Drew, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hello, handsome.
Hey, so what do you think? You think there are animals being dropped off at the border?
No, I think that Trump doesn't want them to pass that border package, like I said, because he won't have anything to run on.
Yeah, but what about the language, though?
The language scares me because I live behind enemy lines, where these people are like, Trump supporters are like, they know I feel like they know they're going to lose.
I don't know. I think Trump and his supporters, looking at the polls, might feel the opposite. The polls say Trump has a really good chance of winning.
Is that before the polls, before or after they found out that he may have made a $600,000 payment to the whistleblower that just tried to impeach the president?
Wait. Say that again?
Came out over the weekend that there was a payment to the whistleblower that tried to say those things about Joe Biden that came from Trump's associates.
Yeah, but let's be clear. Let's be real. Do you think you think the Trump supporters would believe that? That's coming from the mainstream media, right?
Yeah, but look, this is what I think. You know I talk to them all day long. I'm to the point now, they know. They know.
They know what? You say they know. They know what?
They know he committed crimes. They know.
Do they care?
No, and that's the problem.
But when you say they know.
I remember when Republicans used to have honor. They used to have respect. They used to have some form of ethics, or, they carry around the Christian moniker. At least practice what you preach. Damn.
Yeah, but when you say Trump committed crimes and things like that, or we talked about the language in regards to illegals on YouTube, Eloy said the poor lady on the other line needs to house those illegals at her own house. How do you respond to folks who say when you're talking about immigrants?
We would love to have them because Alabama keeps throwing them out and we keep losing crops and other jobs. And so tell them, fine, I got a room, whatever.
So you're telling me that the reduction in immigrants coming into Alabama is actually hurting that state?
Yeah.
Explain.
It has been before Trump got in office.
How is it hurting it?
Alabama made a law so strict that you drove down the road with somebody that was undocumented in your car, they could take your car.
Damn.
If you had them in your house, they could take your damn house.
Damn.
They weren't playing. They made the mistake, they were pulling over the plant manager of Mercedes, and he snapped on them.
So
they had him out on the street.
But if you're a citizen with an undocumented individual in your vehicle, how are you supposed to know that? I don't check the.
Well, our state, we hire a lot of people to work the farmlands. They come in on visas and they work. When we don't have those people and they can't get visas and they can't come in, well, then that crop just is on the vine dead. We don't harvest it. We lost 2/3 of our crops that year.
Wow, and that's due to what George W. Bush said. They were doing jobs that no Americans want. Mm-hmm. But what about crime? I want you to hear this clip. We'll discuss it briefly. Let's check this out.
Now we have migrant crimes, and they're rough. They're rough, and it's going to double up, and you see what's happening. Throughout the world right now, I don't know if you know this, crime is way, way down. You know why? Because they sent us their criminals. That's why. It's true. It's true. They sent, Venezuela is down 66% because they sent us their gang members and their gangsters. They sent us their drug dealers and their murderers. They're all coming.
Wait, say that again?
Let's be honest. What did we do to Venezuela, though?
Well, yeah, but according to him.
Their government and
Yeah, but wait a minute. I get your point that our sanctions on Venezuela. Hold on.
So we shouldn't be responsible for the messes we make around the world. Is that it?
Yeah, but he's saying they're sending criminals here, though.
Yeah, whatever. He says lots of things that aren't true.
Okay. Well, you do hear what he said. Crime is down 66% in Venezuela because all the criminals are coming here.
Crime is down in the United States last year.
Well,
I mean, I know they keep spotlighting these one cases here and these one cases there. Majority of crimes still committed by white people. I'm sorry.
wow. So, but at the end of the day, how are we supposed to view these folks when he is suggesting that they pretty much open up the prisons and sent them all here?
I think we need to bring back the fairness doctrine and get rid of all these propaganda networks that are popping up all over the place because people don't have the common sense to actually listen with any kind of discernment. They only rage farm and hear what they want to hear. And as long as they keep only believing and worrying with the rage and the paranoia, I've told you this before, paranoia is a sign of mental illness.
So you're suggesting that Trump is mentally ill?
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of folks favor him.
He said so. Trump has been in decline. He said that Biden beat Obama. He said he was running against Obama. He took credit for a bill that Obama passed. I mean, the man almost wants to be Obama, let's be honest.
Yeah. Wait. You said Trump almost wants to be Obama.
I mean, he takes credit for all Obama stuff. The wall, you know, the what was it? The choice package, the economy, like all kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, some do suggest that he inherited a good economy from Obama, but the economy went up significantly. Many believe under Trump. They believe Trump did give us a great economy, which is why when comparing him to Biden, Biden does so poorly. It's because people point to Trump's economy.
When Obama took office, the unemployment rate was like almost 8%. And when he handed it over, it was below right at 4.
Yeah, but we can give percentages
and rejuvenate the economy, and the banks weren't failing anymore, and the car industry was doing good, and they paid us back. You know, like at least Obama and them got them to pay us back. What happened to all the money that went out during the pandemic? We didn't check that money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
We
But
had them. Gates wouldn't have $500,000. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
oh, thank you. By the way, they're trashing you on on YouTube. We run it simultaneously on YouTube. And
Look, I am. If you noticed, I'm not even emotional today. You know why? Because I have decided that I'm not going to waste any more emotion on people who are detached from reality. I'm just not.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate you coming on. I do got to move it on.
And by the way,
Real quick.
when they're saying the quiet parts out loud and giving that salute at CPAC, and he's talking that trash he was talking when you first played about how upset his followers would be. People that voted for Nikki Haley are saying they're not going to vote for him. I know real Republicans not going to vote for him.
Well, you're in a blood red state.
Franchising as many people as he's gaining. So if you are at a net, the polls can say whatever they want. They said every election was going to go to the Republicans that went to the Democrats for the last 8 elections. The polls don't matter anymore. They're out of kilter with the way America works today.
Well, we'll find out.
They said Hillary was going to win.
All right. Okay, I do got to move it on, but we'll certainly find out. We'll find out the truth in a few short months. All right, looking in the box, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Try to get the likes up because it helps out the algorithm. You guys already know the program is forever will remain MAGA friendly. So we do get guests on both sides of the aisle, regardless if you lean left or right. We don't believe in stifling free speech. So understand this is and always will be an uncensored program. You don't have to agree with anybody, including the host. We don't censor or limit you in any way. But we're talking about some of the statements from Trump's rally yesterday because we do believe it is worthy of discussion. In the comments, don't show me that so early. I get nauseated. Are you suggesting that a simple piece of apparel, perhaps a hat, might lead you to become nauseated? It's just a hat, Grandma. It's just a hat. So looking in the comments, I do appreciate your input. Why people don't talk about Biden 85 million votes? Why people? Well, Terry, because some folks are suggesting that Biden did not legally obtain 85 million votes. So that's a discussion we've had many times. Should be more of you folks tapping the screen on TikTok. Oddly enough, I currently have more viewers on YouTube than on TikTok. That almost never happens. Grandma, Appreciate the hat and mustache. Yeah, happy Sunday morning to you. So before we go back to the box, we're talking about President Trump from a number of angles. I want to talk to you about another clip. This was a little bit different. I know some folks may not view it the same, but Trump is indeed suggesting that he would pardon the folks on January 6th that were arrested and sentenced. But many folks suggest, well, they either got too long of a sentence or that it too made them become political prisoners. Now, this clip is from MSNBC, so I know a lot of my beloved MAGA don't really give a lot of credibility to MSNBC, but I want you to check something out in it because it's video that can't be denied regardless of who's delivering it to you.
Third, free those convicted of January 6 crimes, or as he's called them in a post on social media, January 6 hostages being wrongfully imprisoned. He's flirted with releasing some in the past in speeches and in interviews, but this is the first time that I can recall, at least, that he said all of them and that he'd do it on day one. That's more than 500 people, including Daniel DJ Rodriguez, who's serving a 12-and-a-half-year sentence for driving a stun gun, you can see it right here, into the Capitol officer's Michael Fanone's neck, Capitol Police Officer Michael Fanone.
Now, he's using a stun gun on a police officer. Before we continue on, should he be pardoned? He is on, like I said, I understand it's coming from MSNBC. My beloved MAGA has no tolerance for MSNBC. I get that. But this is video, folks. Just because it's video being shown on MSNBC does not take away from the fact that it is video. So here's one of the guys using a stun gun on a cop. Should he be pardoned on day one if Trump is reelected?
Peter Schwartz, who's serving 14 years for throwing a folding chair at officers while wielding a tire knocker. There's that bear spray right there. Retired NYPD officer Thomas.
There is another guy there on video. Like I stated, it's on MSNBC. You're probably not going to see this on OAN or Fox anyhow. You're more likely to see them being peacefully let in. They're not going to show a video like this, but he is on video using bear spray on police officers in uniform. Should he be pardoned? Trump is suggesting on day one, this guy too would be receive the privilege of a presidential pardon.
Webster serving 10 years for tackling an officer and pulling off his mask, forcing him to choke on pepper spray. Not sure if we're seeing that video, but this is more video from the moment.
Now, these guys are just fighting with the cops. This is not the video she's talking about, but you see them pushing the gate, and the cops are using the barricade to prevent them from getting through, and they're obviously not having any of that, but continuing on.
And Patrick McCaughey, who's serving 7 years for crushing Officer Daniel Hodges with the officer's own shield. You can see that right there. Joining us now is NBC.
So that's all we're asking. Now, it's MSNBC. I'm not denying the source may be controversial at best because MSNBC undoubtedly leans left. But that's video, folks. That is video. Just like when McCarthy sent the video of QAnon Shaman being let in the Capitol, this is actual video. Looking in the comments, Eloy says CIA operatives and Antifa. Okay, let's assume the individuals you just saw in the video are all CIA operatives or Antifa. Then should CIA operatives and Antifa remain in prison for the crimes you see here? Trump promised to pardon everybody. If these folks are Antifa, shouldn't they stay in jail? Why would he pardon Antifa? We do have a right to address our government. Free them now, says Anthony. You think bear spraying police is addressing your government? Is that how you refer to that as? I mean, crushing a cop, is that how you quote unquote? I mean, you might as well just go hang out with the Black Lives Matter people you bring up all the time. Let me go back to the box. Addressing the government, that's a new term for today. I always appreciate and enjoy the participation. Like I said, folks, you don't have to agree with the host. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So state your case. Nobody's going to censor it here. It's all about free speech. We'll go straight to Popeye. Good afternoon, Popeye. If the box allows him to come up, I don't know what just happened there. So Apparently, we're having some trouble with the box. We'll keep it moving. Let's try Patrick Meyer. See if it works there. Yeah, we're definitely having some trouble. We'll give it a second to come up. What's wrong with BLM, mister? There's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with BLM, but there are members of BLM that have committed crimes and felonies. No denying that. They're not all innocent. They're not all just protesting police brutality or misconduct. So they're on video committing crimes. So it is what it is. The liberals didn't have a problem. What's the deal, says Drew. I don't quite get that comment. 90% of white MAGA were arrested. Grandma, what do you mean by that? 90% of white MAGA. I'm going to try to flip over the TikTok side of things to Wi-Fi. Hopefully that corrects things before we move on, because we're having a bit trouble bringing up guests. If you folks would tap the screen, we can certainly bring up the numbers somewhat. Not a lot of folks on TikTok showing support. Let's try again under the Wi-Fi with Popeye. Popeye, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. What do you think pardoning the January 6th arrestees on day one?
I think, brother, that they need to look at all the videos, all the data, all the information. There's two sides to the story, and I'm not saying that they're innocent. They might have been some that were, doing illegal activity, but at the same time, there was many patriots that were there to be heard, to voice their opinion. And as we've always seen, I'm not Republican or Democrat, but I lean right.
Nothing wrong with that.
I consider myself more identifying to the right. I'm pro-life. I'm Second Amendment, all of the good things.
Okay.
That the country
So let me ask you this, and I'll let you continue. But Eloy on YouTube, because we run it on simultaneously on YouTube, Eloy is saying that these are likely CIA operatives and Antifa. What say you?
Okay, I don't know about Antifa, but I do know I've heard many information. There's been informants and people that are undercover that are spilling the beans, talking about how all these departments in government, like the CIA, the FBI, all of these departments are getting extra funding, or I don't know the law, so of course you go out and do your own research. But from the stuff that I've picked up, which I've got a life, I've got a job, I've got family, I've got other things besides just focusing on that, but from what I've picked up is that, of course, the more people that they bring in, incriminating them, it goes to the narrative that white supremacy and the white terrorists or domestic terrorists, that whole narrative they push. Now, there has been videos that have been leaked of people that were there, that are out there on TikTok and even YouTube, and they're out there. And you can see where these agents like the FBI agents that were there, supposedly that were there to be undercover to catch people doing the wrong thing or, doing criminal activity.
What you're saying sounds very similar to what Jesse on YouTube is saying. Is the point is the department stirred the crowd, but in regards to what you're saying and what Jesse is saying on YouTube, also gang states, if you are with someone stealing and they get caught, do you get in trouble? In other words, let's say Ray Epps or the FBI or Antifa encourage these folks to act that way. If you're with someone committing a felony and you're participating, are you not guilty of the said crime?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. And there's been plenty of names that are floating out there of agents, whether they're CIA, FBI, or so on and so forth, because there's many other departments or government entities that we don't know about because, of course, they're here to supposedly protect us. But, the way everything has flipped here recently, we don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. So I do my research and I look as much as I can.
But who was in charge? Who was in charge of the FBI or CIA on January 6th?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi is the head of the CIA and the FBI. Who appoints
No. I meant to say for the Capitol Police. Police.
No, we're talking about, no, we're not talking about the Capitol Police. We're talking about the alleged instigators of the violence. Folks are saying the FBI and CIA kicked it off. Who was responsible for the CIA or the FBI? Who appoints their top directors and things like that?
I honestly don't know. I haven't looked further into that, to be honest.
All right.
But I have seen the reports, as I was saying, of the FBI agents by name, and they have the comparison of the person in the MAGA hat in the crowd talking about let's break in, let's do this, let's do that, and then they show the contrast where they're agents, and those people are not in the J6 crowd that's in jail right now.
Okay.
They're out and about.
So then I have to, but then the reason why I asked you who's in charge of these federal outfits, the president of the United States is the one who appoints the director of the FBI. This was Trump's FBI on January 6th that folks are suggesting instigated this crowd to do this. Biden was not even president. He was president-elect on January 6th. Trump was still in control of the country. Is it safe to say that the country got out of control under Trump? On January 6th, everything fell apart while he was still president?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I would agree. Now, of course, as much as they attack Trump, I tell you, man, standing from the outside, looking in, it's hard to see what's going on behind doors. Now, we do know that there is another, it's like another entity that is controlling certain parts of our government, which, right now, everything is shifting to where everybody wants to be against somebody else over something. And I think that when Trump came in, he came with a different agenda. He didn't come in to be part of the elites or to be part of that behind doors community.
But did he repair any of it? Trump pointed out, that there's this aura of globalists and elite running the country. There's a swamp. He pointed all this out before becoming president. He became president. Did he actually do anything about any of it?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say.
Why is it? After 4 years in office, why is it hard to say whether he did anything about it or not?
Okay, so let me tell you how I see it. So back in the day, it used to be where Obama inherited the previous president's economy and this and this and this and this and this. So of course, this and this is from the previous president, and then of course, then that would be passed on whether it was Democrat or Republican. Now I've seen information where the Bushes and Obamas, they're buddies, and so there's a lot of things that I can share with you as I'm telling you from what I've seen. Now, like I said, I don't.
Yeah, but you're not answering the question though. Yeah, but you're not answering the question. Did he fix the problem he told us all existed? The swamp, the elite, the globalists. Did he fix the problem he pointed out?
So year after year, president after president, in 4 years, my bud, I doubt that you could fix the whole world or the whole thing in one presidency.
But he told us he could do this. So,
if you compare Obama's presidency to Trump's, I like Trump any day.
Okay.
Obama.
And there's nothing. Listen, there's nothing wrong with preferring Trump's presidency over Obama. If you lean right, it makes perfect sense. However, Trump told us he could do this. You're telling us you can't do it in 4 years. So did Trump promise us something that he had no possibility of ever obtaining? Did he just give us basically wolf tickets?
Well, so, Trump can't just be a dictator, go into the presidency and say, this is what I'm going to do and do it. It doesn't work that way, bro. We've got the Senate, we've got the Congress. Now,
then why promise it? But but Popeye, that's the question I'm asking. If he can't do this stuff, then why is he promising it?
Because that's the way it works, brother. If you're interviewing for a job, and if you're supposed to be able to lift 100 pounds, you're going to say, look, I can lift 100 and probably even 120. So let me do what I can. Let me get this job, and I'll prove to you that I could do the job that you're asking me, and probably even better. That's how this works. He was interviewing for a job. He got the job, and other people were preventing him from doing it.
So wait a minute. You just said
that I'm blaming everything on one side or the other, because there is Republicans that were anti-Trump. I've looked into this, and like I said, there's people that are Democrats that are pro-Trump, but they don't come out. Why? Because the Democrats will come against them, like they're not part of their party. See, this government that we see today is nothing like what it used to be.
But Popeye, wait a minute. Before you get into the government, Artie Wilmore in the comments stated that that's wow. So lie to make it. You just basically admitted that Trump. No. Wait, hold on. You said if they say you need to lift 100 pounds, I'm just going to say I can do it, maybe even lift more just to get the job. You're admitting that Trump promised something.
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
Translation. So I say something, and if you translate it in your own way and you twist it like liberals and most Democrats do, which even Republicans do it. I'm not taking sides, but I am stating my opinion. I tell you, I'm American before I am anything else. If you're a Democrat, liberal, you are white, black, Mexican, whatever you are, I'm with you if you are for America first. Why? Because we live here. Let me tell you, and I'll tell you this, is because what I just said right now got twisted, and many people.
Okay, hold on. Hang on. Hold on.
Twisted in a way that it's not.
Okay, Popeye. Hold on, Popeye. We're not having a conversation. Let me talk to you, man.
Let me finish, brother. I mean, you're asking me a question and you cut me
Okay,
off.
go ahead and finish.
So what I'm telling you is this. One of the things is when we do something, the way you translate it might be something different for someone else. But from what I see, Trump is pro-life. I'm not pro-choice in the way that you give that person the right just to choose to make that choice.
We're not talking about that.
To make a choice just based on because of your circumstances, it's got to go even deeper than that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that there wasn't anybody in that J6 situation that was guilty. There is, because personally.
Okay, wait, hold it. I got it, Popeye. I got to interrupt you. Your answer is very long, and you're talking about stuff I'm not even asking you. I asked you when the man suggested he could drain the swamp, and he failed to do it. Why did he promise something that you're admitting that could not be done?
I did not admit that, but okay. I mean, there's people here listening to what I said. So with that being said, brother, I think that Trump is a way better president than Sleepy Joe, and I think that people waking up. Now I'm gonna tell you.
I got it. I'll give you the last word. Wrap it up.
And I go through these lives. I can get into the Spanish lives, English lives. I can relate to people with the faith because I'm Christian, and so I have a lot of people that I encounter, and I'm telling you. The Latino and black community are waking up to what was going on. Now, Trump maybe wasn't perfect, and of course, you're held to a different standard than what you hold yourself. That's the way it works. People want him to be perfect, but then again, they'll ignore what the Democrat presidents had to offer, and it's okay. We do that. Everybody does that. But at the end of the day, what Sleepy Joe has come to offer, I don't believe it's as good as what Trump offered. Now, if Trump would have gotten the next 4 years, I think that a lot of things. So I'll give you a good example.
Real quick, I do got to move it on. Real quick, go ahead.
The wall. He promised the wall, and they wouldn't fund it. They wouldn't allow him to fund it. So what did he do? He had to make changes in the government as far as I think he went through the military funds or something like that to secure the border because it's part of the security of the country. So. And I can't get into depth with that because.
All right, okay, I do got to move it on, man. You're giving me a long answer, but listen, anytime come back, but I do got to move it on.
They wouldn't allow him because the Congress and Senate wouldn't approve it.
Okay, and that what he's saying is correct about the wall. You're going to face resistance. That's just like when Obama tried to pass universal health care. The right wasn't interested in that. I mean, that's kind of how politics works. I'm not going to disagree with him that some of Trump's signature promises did not face resistance. Remember, Trump did not get to repeal and replace Obamacare because of Senator John McCain. It wasn't the liberals. Senator John McCain is the one that went up there and gave him thumbs down. But yeah, as president, you're going to get some resistance. I mean, I think that if Biden had not faced resistance, you'd have a lot more college tuition forgiveness. You'd have the George Floyd bill right now. I mean, that's what happens. You promise something, and the other side does not want you to look like a success. So they put up resistance. That ain't unique to Trump. That happens to all of them. But me and the last caller had a difference of opinion. Like I said, I don't censor anyone. I let him state his point. But the way I took it, and maybe some of you in the audience, maybe not all, but some of you in the audience, the way I took it is, he made a statement that sounded like Trump said whatever he needed to say to get elected, even though he knew he could not achieve it. When questioned on it, it sounds like he backtracked. Maybe I'm wrong. Nevertheless, that's what I heard. Looking in the comments, though, don't disrespect McCain. That is the quickest way to piss off an Arizonan, says the real Robert McDonald. So if you believe pissing off an Arizonan, and I appreciate your participation, if you believe pissing off an Arizonan pissing off McCain is the way to piss off Arizonans, then is it safe to assume Arizona's going to remain blue? Because Trump has said a significant higher number of insults about the McCain family, even after John McCain's death, than Biden ever has. So if Arizonans are pissed off from insults about the McCains, they probably would go blue, would they not? Would that also, I assume that's probably the reason Ricky Lake. What is the woman's name? Something Lake, Carrie Lake or whatever her name is. Probably the reason why she's not in office. But she's running for senator, Arizona. That's why Carrie can't win. She disrespected McCain, says Rick in Texas. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. McCain sucks, says Eloy. Eloy, you got some serious participation. Thank you. You got some wild ass comments though. With all due respect, Biden probably doesn't remember who McCain is. Well, let's go back to the time when he was, in your opinion, within his faculties. He wasn't saying anything negative about McCain even then. So it is what it is. I think he said Romney, if you elect Romney, he's going to put y'all back in chains. But I don't remember him saying anything like that about McCain. Continuing the program on, I want to, before we go back to the box, I want you guys to hear yet another comment that...
Visitors to see us. They're sending and they're bringing...
Okay, I think that's it.
To the border. They're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in.
Now, this is
these are cases. They're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed.
This is what we're listening
and others. Unbelievable when I see it going. But I got to know all these people. They're very smart, very streetwise, and I would do the same thing. If I had prisons that were teeming with MS-13 and all sorts of people that they've got to take care of for the next 50 years, right? Young people, they're in jail for years, if you call them people. I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say.
In some cases, they're not people. Continuing on.
They say you have to vote against him because did you hear what he said about humanity? I've seen the humanity, and these are bad. These are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people. We have so many people being hurt so badly and being killed. They're sending their prisoners to see us. They're bringing them right to the border. And they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hard.
So these immigrants are tougher than anyone we have in this country. It sounds like the countries south of the border, Central America, South America, just decided we're going to get rid of all of our worst citizens, prisoners, convicts. We're just going to send them to America. So that the folks coming across the border is just loaded with killers, convicts, rape. I mean, this is what we're hearing.
Hardened criminals. And we've got hundreds of thousands of them.
Hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals. That's what's coming across the border, folks. Hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals. Going to go to the box. I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. Hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals. This is pretty bad, folks. If you buy into this sounds awful. Wing Ding King, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, Ansel?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of scared. Hundreds of thousands of criminals are coming here.
I told you, man. MAGA, Republican, Communist Party, bro.
He's a communist, man.
Yeah, but even Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, both communist dictators, they're not saying hundreds of thousands of criminals to do with communism. You believe that's the case?
He's a liar, man. That's what he do. He knows how to scare the white tea people.
Wow.
Especially the male white tea. They are easily influenced by words because they feel like they're being replaced. They come in and take our jobs, like they said on Mark. They come in and take our jobs. These people ain't doing shit. You're not going to work the jobs anyway. Who's going to do the sanitation? Who's going to do the janitorial? Who's going to do the fields? No American is going to do it.
So you do believe this is a ploy to scare white people?
That's all it is, man. That's all it is. And he knows he can get them geeked up for me. Oh, if I don't win, it's going to be a bloodbath. What do you mean by that, bro? A bloodbath against who? Bloodbath against who? Fellow Americans? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he did say that. Now, they're suggesting that he meant the auto industry. He doesn't get elected again. The auto industry is going to experience a bloodbath. What say you? That's what they're saying.
Man, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Handsome, man. Donald Trump is exactly who he's been for years. Once he realized he can manipulate the minds of the low-educated Republicans, that's why he became a Republican. He was a Democrat for years, saying nothing but good things about the Clintons, about the Carters, about all the Democrats. He said only time the country is run well is when it's ran by Democrats. Now all of a sudden the Democrats are doing a bad job because he's running as a Republican. He is a fear-mongering, hate-mongering person, man. He knows that if he continue to speak like that, those uneducated white males are going to follow him off the cliff. And I hope they do. Follow his ass off the cliff. He made a mistake the other day when he did the interview on Newsmax, when he said before he decided to run for president, they was already investigating him in New York. So what is it? Is it political? Or were they already finna investigate you before you ran for president?
Well, but he's suggesting it's a witch hunt, in that if he wasn't running for president, he wouldn't be dealing with all this.
No, they already was investigating him before then.
Yeah.
Especially the ones in New York.
What about in the
investigated? He said it out his mouth on Newsmax.
But what about like Trump 2024? Well, in the comments said that it's all election interference. Is there any possibility that some of this is being done to prevent him from running or prevent him from being president?
No, man, because majority of Americans are not stupid, man. Come on, for every, like in my neighborhood, oh man, Trump gave us the stimulus, not knowing that the Congress passed the stimulus. But anyway, he put his name on it, so all of a sudden everybody, oh man, Trump is this, man. Trump is what he is, man. A rich piece of shit that never worked a hardest day in his life.
74 million.
He doesn't know what struggle is, man.
70.
He doesn't know what struggle is.
But Wingding, 74 million people voted for this guy. You telling me they all got it wrong?
Yes, because I guarantee you, I guarantee you 20 million of that 74 will not vote for him this time.
You think his support is going to drop down by 20 million voters? You think Biden's going to win by that big of a margin?
Man, I guarantee you, either the people are going to vote for the third party that the Republicans are trying to put in, or they won't vote for him. They're not going to vote for him, man. I'm telling you, man. That's why he got to constantly do rallies all the time.
Well, I want you. Let me. Hold on.
All these people for me.
Okay, I want you.
He has to do those rallies because he's a drift. He's the greatest grifter of all time.
Well, let me just tell you this. If Biden was doing as many rallies as Trump, people probably would be a lot more favorable to Biden. So regardless of what we think about what Trump is saying at his rallies, I got to get credit to the man for actually talking to the people. But I wanted to run a comment by you, and I don't see where I was trying to interrupt you to run this by you, but apparently it disappeared. But it was something like, voting for Trump is like Jews voting for Hitler. It was something crazy. Latinos voting for Trump is like Jews voting for Hitler. I saw that in the comments on YouTube. Is that not harsh or what?
Damn, man, I don't know about that.
Wow.
He talks about people that's against him. And he knows the rhetoric that he speaks geeks up the uneducated white male. He knows it gets them going. But he'll have Mar-a-Lago filled with illegal immigrants working for him.
Well, you might be talking about your next president, Wing Ding. I do got to move it on, but don't count him out, man. There's a lot of love. It's a lot of love for Trump out there. It's a lot of love for the man.
He's not winning this time. Hey, great show, bro. He's not winning this time.
All right. We'll find out in about 8.5 months. Moving the program on. By the way, I haven't been soliciting this, but certainly tap the screen. Not a lot of viewers today. Obviously, it's a Sunday. You could be anywhere you want to be. So it is a pleasure having you folks here with yours truly. As we always say, the program is uncensored. It has always been MAGA friendly from day one. It always will be MAGA friendly in its entirety. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. That's how the program is ran. What do we say? If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to limit or censor your opinion, feel free to drop a subscription for you folks on YouTube. Follow the program for you folks on TikTok. Appreciate if you would smash that like button on YouTube and really tap the screen on TikTok. A little bit low on the participation of that today. And I asked for it because it helps out the FYP, it helps out the program, brings in more MAGA to the forum because that's how it's set up. So when you're smashing the like button or you're tapping the screen on TikTok, it helps out the algorithm, and it does bring more MAGA to the program because MAGA are my preferred guests. Give me one policy Trump did that was good, and I'll give you 3 from Biden. Well, in regards to policies Trump did that folks favored, a lot of folks favored a tax cut. That's a policy of Trump's, whether you like it or not. Trump was in favor of drilling oil. That's a policy of Trump. Less regulation. A lot of folks favor this stuff. A lot of folks on the left have a different opinion. I get it, but there are plenty of policies that Trump implemented that people favor. So, the idea that he didn't do any good policies, that's just the way you feel if you lean left. But there are plenty of policies people on the right favor. He gave more money to HBCUs than any other president since Bradley Smith. I don't know if that's true in regards to more money. I don't know if that's true. I think, therefore, I vote for Trump, the border idiot. If the Democrats are so democratic, why was there no Democratic primary? Well, there was no Republican primary when Trump was running for re-election either. Fact is, when you're running for re-election, folks in the party make it easier for you to get reelected. When Biden was running, you see how they quieted Kennedy had to go in as a third party now. Well, when Trump was running for reelection in 2020, there were 4 different candidates that wanted to primary him. Most of us have never heard much about them because several Republican states stepped up and announced that they were going to automatically give their electoral votes to Trump. So there were 4 different people, 4 different candidates that wanted to run against Trump. You never heard about them. So it happens on both sides. You can easily Google that and look that up, by the way. Real quick, going to the box, the one and only Trump 2024. Once again, the box is active. I got to bring up Trump 2024. Good afternoon.
What's happening?
Not much at all. Is Trump the man? I'm assuming
Trump is the man.
Okay. So why is he suggesting that hundreds of thousands of criminals are coming in this country? You believe that?
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, it shows it on the news.
You like the gas prices?
Who is that in the background?
That's my uncle. He's talking about the gas prices and stuff.
Yeah, but let's go back. We'll talk about the gas prices, if you will, but let's talk about the immigrants first. If there are so many criminals coming here, why do they keep showing the same victims over and over again? There should be a different murder victim every day if all of these folks are that bad.
Maybe they're not getting caught. I mean, but you see them coming over.
You think hundreds of you believe
all get free?
You believe hundreds of
money, everything.
Hold on. You believe hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals are coming here, and they're all in sync, not getting caught. Just one or two of them. You believe they're that good?
No, I'm not saying they're all criminals, but they are all coming over here illegally.
Okay, Trump is saying they're all criminals. Why is he saying that?
Because they're emptying out the jails in other countries and sending them over here.
Okay, so why are they all coming here and acting good all of a sudden? If it's hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals, where's all the crime?
Where's all the crime?
Yeah, where's all the murder victims? Murderers, rapists? How many of these people? How many of them are raping Americans? Where are all the rape victims?
We don't have the exact number right now, but I mean, I know it's happening.
Estimate. Give me an estimate.
I couldn't tell you right now. I mean, I know what's going on, and it's not good.
Yeah, but rape, I get your point about it, and I agree with you. It's not good to just let people in unvetted, but suggesting that they're mostly rapists and murderers, and that yet when they come here, we should have rapes and murders happening everywhere from illegal immigrants. Why are we not seeing that?
Well, the mainstream media ain't gonna show you, that's for sure.
Okay, what about Fox?
Fox is wishy-washy.
What about Trump? What about Trump himself? He talked about the nursing student in Georgia that was murdered at this rally yesterday that's on the screen. Why are they continuing to talk about this same woman over and over again? If there are hundreds of thousands of rapists and murderers, where are the murder victims?
I guess that's what they're trying to get out there. That's the one they know about right now. That's the main one.
Hundreds of thousands of rapists and murderers, and you only have a quote-unquote main one? You can't give me at least 15? Hundreds of thousands. You can't give me at least 15 murder victims out of 100,000 people?
Well, they don't know who all's here.
Is it
the one that come to the gate and they let them go through? Then they got the other ones that are just sneaking right in here.
Yeah, but Julio Reyes in the comments, 1952, made a point. Let me ask you this in regards to what he said. He said it's not happening. Is it possible that President Trump is vastly overstating how bad these people really are?
Nah.
Okay. Are you still there? Trump 2024, are you still with the program? All right, apparently either he had a phone call or something happened. Wanted to find out more, but that is a question to be asked. If this many folks are coming to this country and they are so violent, where are all of the victims? Now, I know a few folks have joined the program, and we will continue on. I'll take another caller, but I want you to hear it again.
Because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say. They say you have to vote against him because did you hear what he said about humanity? I've seen the humanity, and these are bad. These are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people. We have so many people being hurt so badly and being killed. They're sending their prisoners to see us. They're bringing them right to the border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hardened criminals, and we've got hundreds of thousands of them. And
hundreds of thousands of hardened criminals that are tougher than anybody we have in this country. Yet we're talking about the same murder. One person got murdered, the nursing, one cop got beat up by like 7 of them in New York. We should have this type of stuff happening all over this country. Where are all of the victims of these folks? If it's that many of them coming in and they're that damn violent, is it wrong to ask, why are there not more victims being discussed? That's all we're trying to find out, is where are the remaining victims? Z-Pack, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Z-Pack.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, where the victims at?
The victims. Sorry, hold on. Let me pause my music. What were you saying? Where are the victims?
Yeah, where are all the victims? I mean, these are some horrible people. He's referring to many of them as animals. Where are the victims at?
I mean, it's pandering. It's what a lot of politicians do, unfortunately.
He's not a typical politician, though.
Well, that's what MAGA believes, but we all know he's a politician. He's been a politician his entire life. To say that he isn't is wild. The thing about it is, when you take something like this and you spin it into a narrative, it is kind of disgusting. I would say that, like, the Democrats, I guess you could say, did the same thing at the State of the Union, bringing people there who had to get abortions in other states because they couldn't receive them. They had special, I forget exactly the circumstance, but you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, and Kate Cox with the chromosome disorder,
But that's not to the same level of unaliving victim. That's not to the same level. And that's why, like, they thrive on this fear, real fear tactics.
So wait a minute. So now I had a guest on a couple callers ago who stated that Trump is doing this to create fear and panic in the white community. Do you see any validity to that?
Of course. I mean, that's exactly what it does. It gets people gassed up for no reason. When we've got real criminals out there, we have MAGA extremists as well that do a lot of harm. There was, I forget exactly the case, but I believe there was a 12-year-old girl who was unalived by some Trump supporter, and the Democrats didn't use that as a fear tactic, like to the extent that Trump is doing. It's just his way of galvanizing, like you said, white people to be upset about something, because the real people that are making white people victims is capitalism.
Yeah.
And everything that they're complaining about, whereas the price gouging and all of the other problems that he says it's a mess. Quite frankly, it's a mess. When he says things like that, he's referring to capitalism thriving in this country, and that man is the one that is actually promising to give them more tax breaks. And look what they did when they got their tax breaks. And I know this is semi-off topic, but that's the whole thing, to strive on fear and then hopefully get them to be confused about why things are the way they are.
Wow. So you're saying it's painted a portrait of confusion. Now, I want to say this real quick in the comments. Steady B on YouTube said, why is that so hard for you to believe? Millions of illegals are now here draining taxpayer resources. Before we continue talking, Z-Pack, I will say this. If they're giving immigrants, EBT cards and resources, I don't disagree that they're taking resources, but taking resources doesn't equate to being a murderer. If you got a welfare mom that's popping out kids to stay on welfare, point out what she's doing. You don't have to call her a rapist or a murderer to make the point. Draining resources and murdering people are not the same. Go ahead, Z-Pack.
Well, let's look at that program in New York, because it was very misunderstood. It was very misunderstood. The program in New York is a $12.84 EBT card that is for 1 day of food items, right? Or I believe it's 1 day, or maybe even one or so many. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the point is, it's only a 30-day program.
Yeah, but it's 30 days. But it's 30-day program for, as Trump would say, hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, you got immigrants coming in here literally by the thousands every day. Even if you give them a resource for only 30 days, that really adds up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was an alarm going off. It's done now to the comments. I'm outside. the thing about it is though that the Republicans don't care about helping people anyway. So like when they complain about, oh, this person's getting $12 a month, they're the ones that voted against SNAP. They wanted to get rid of SNAP. Mike Johnson is on record saying, we can't do this. I'm sorry to his people. It's just not going to work out. And I actually made a video about this a little while ago, not to plug myself, but I quite literally have a video. Yeah, that was just an alarm. Yeah. No.
All right, Z-Pack, you got some issues going on over there?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
This is my wife saying, "What was that?"
Okay.
So what I was saying though is like they quite literally voted against SNAP. They don't want to help American people. They don't want to give American people more money for SNAP. They cut SNAP funding. So then when they sit there and they say, oh, we're upset that these people are getting money, it's like, well, who are you giving the money to in real time? You're not giving it to the American people. So what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, why do you care?
Yeah. I've said it before. We're a capitalist country. We do not like to share it. We're talking about illegal immigrants, and I see in the comments, Larry Pittorf said, "That's my tax money. I don't want to give it to a non-citizen. Give it back to me. I can use it." I agree with you, Z-Pack. We don't want to give money to non-citizens or citizens. We don't, as Americans, as a capitalist country, we don't want to be forced to give money to anyone in need, regardless of their citizenship, even poor Americans. If you start talking about a social program to help out poor Americans, we don't want to do that one either. I'll give you the last word, though.
Yeah, and the thing is, in the chat, they said Americans only get $7.60 a day. Okay, so why don't the Democrats support raising that? The Republicans are against raising that. So maybe you should be angry at the Republicans who constantly vote against raising SNAP funding and wanted to cut SNAP funding. As recently as December of last year, they were the ones that were saying we want to cut this program. So that's where I'm people in the chat are like, Americans only get this much. Sure, let's advocate that they get more. Let's advocate that they get the same amount then. Yeah. That's what you should be doing, not being angry about them getting it as well.
Yeah. And I agree. I got to move it on to Z-Pack. I will elaborate on that a little bit more, but thank you for coming by. And in regards to suggesting that immigrants are getting more than Americans, there was a time in this country before we had anywhere near the immigration problem we're having under Biden. And we were not in favor of Americans getting more money at that point in time either. So the point I'm simply making is, even if we took immigrants out of the picture, let's say Trump got in there and completely corrected the immigration issue, we wouldn't be fans of giving those Americans more money either. I mean, like I stated before, when it comes to social programs, we're not in favor of forcibly using our tax money to help out less fortunate Americans either. It sounds great to say, well, immigrants, yeah, but we wouldn't. Look, before we started helping the Ukraine out, before we had Biden's immigration issues, there were poor Americans in this country being told you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So it's not about the money should go to Americans as opposed to immigrants. We don't want it to go to Americans either. We're just kind of using it right now because the immigrant issue exists. But once the immigrant issue gets corrected, we're going to tell poor Americans, you don't need a handout either. That's just, it's always been like that. Going back to the box, we'll go straight to Modern Ragger. I'm having some trouble with the box trying to bring guests up. Trump wants to stop Social Security. He's been trying to correct that. Biden's running with that. I don't know if that's completely true, but Modern, good afternoon. Okay, apparently he has some type of television. We'll go right back to the box, but what I want you folks to hear is yet another Trump quote, and I'll go back to the box real quick, but I want to run this from by because I think it's worthy of discussion as well.
You have vicious crimes, you have violent crimes, you have all these. Now we have migrant crimes, and they're rough. They're rough, and it's going to double up, and you see what's happening. Throughout the world right now, I don't know if you know this, crime is way, way down. You know why? Because they sent us their criminals. That's why. It's true. It's true. They sent, Venezuela is down 66% because they sent us their gang members and their gangsters. They sent us their drug dealers and their murderers. They're all coming into our country. And Venezuela now, their crime is down 66%. And all over the world, crime is down because
all over the world, crime is down because they're sending us. I mean, it really does sound like these people coming in across the border are really, really bad hombres, as Trump would say. Do you guys believe that? I see the comments. L66 says, yeah, it's facts. You believe that Venezuela is, for the most part, their crime is going down because they're sending the bad people here? You guys believe that? Jeep, Olo. And people believe that, or rather him shaking my head. Yeah, well, he's saying it. He is saying it. Jeep, good afternoon. Jeep, are you there? Okay, I'm getting a few other guests that aren't ready. George Horich says that's racist. Well, it certainly isn't pro-Venezuelan. I'm not going to go in the camp of saying it's racist, but it sounded bad. I mean, look, this is why I keep suggesting that this language could ultimately could result in people getting injured because, look, if you are a rapist or if you are a murderer, I'm going to tell you, even myself, even though I lean left, I don't give a damn what happens to a rapist or a murderer. Hey, you're a bad person. You got what's coming to you. So if you can convince people that the overwhelming majority of these folks are rapists and murderers, wouldn't that kind of make it open seasoning on them? Open season, rather? Wouldn't it make it open season on them? If, like, okay, Trump is promising the largest deportation in history if he's reelected. How do you think that's going to be implemented? Most likely, and I could be wrong about this, but most likely you deputize a bunch of citizens to go around rounding these folks up. But even if you don't do that and you leave it to the authorities, if the authorities rough up some of these folks in effort to deport them, would you really give a damn if a rapist or a murderer got roughed up by the cops? Who would care? So when I say open season, if you can convince people that these individuals are invaders, these are words he's using, I'm not making any of these up. Invaders, animals, vermin, they're poisoning the blood of the country, rapists and murder. If something happened to one of them, who would give a damn? Who would really give a damn? I mean, you talk about staying your ground or whatever, listen, officer, this rapist or murderer was trying to get to me and I had to shoot him. Who's going to question that? Who's going to really question it? You run his paperwork. He's in the country illegally. You already believe he's a rapist or a murderer. Okay, so what? He's dead. Good riddance. So the point we're trying to make here is that this could really, really lead to some bad outcomes. If you can convince millions of folks that these folks are invaders. Look, when I hear the word invader, I think Normandy. I think Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Would anyone have cared what happened to a Japanese pilot if you pulled him out of the ocean? Would you have cared about anything being done to him? If a Japanese pilot was caught on December 7th, 1941, and you heard that some sailors bayoneted him right there in the ocean, would you have given a damn? I mean, he was an invader. So these terms certainly open the door for some some forgivable violence. I mean, I'm just going to say, I don't even someone like myself with my politics, I don't give a damn what happens to a rapist or a murderer. So if folks believe that's what they truly are, it will give you purge-like access. I mean, look, we're going around town, we're going to just grab a bunch of these folks. Got a whole pickup truck full of, rapists and murderers. Who gives a damn about these people? They disappear in the night, they disappear in the night. I just rid America of 50 rapists and murderers. Who would care? Now, there is a precedent in history for some of you folks who follow World War II, particularly in Germany, called Kristallnacht, Night of Broken Glass is how it translates, where they went around the countryside, destroying all the businesses of Jewish people and harming a lot of them in the process. Because Hitler had convinced them that the Jewish people were essentially vermin, essentially the same, used literally some of the same language. And the Third Reich, that government was okay with it. I mean, good riddance. You got rid of a bunch of bad people. Nobody was prosecuted for that. They went around the countryside, destroying Jewish businesses and some Jewish people in the process. Well, they are vermin. They were ruining the economy of Germany, taking away their resources. A lot of terms that are incredibly familiar in 2024. So just understand, if you don't like them taking the resources, you don't want them coming to the country unvetted, all legitimate things to be concerned about. But when you start instantly promoting them to being really animalistic, I hear folks using terms like cannibal now. Some folks are suggesting that some of these immigrants are cannibals. Who would give a damn if an invader that was coming here to eat Americans got killed in the process? Who would care? Who would really care? You think, let's take the caravan that was going down to Texas not long ago to protect the border. If Trump is president and some of those members of that caravan are accused of roughing up some immigrants, do you really think he would want them prosecuted? Do you really think he's talking about pardoning the folks on January 6th. Do you really? So I just want to point that out to you, that regardless of how you feel about immigrants, this language has a really strong potential to get somebody killed. I mean, it really does, because I don't think any of us care if a rapist or a murderer meets their demise, particularly if they're in the process of invading our country and poisoning its blood. Does anybody give a damn what happens to them? Looking in the comments real quick, MAGA is insane, says Tony Mac. That's a strong statement. We'll keep it moving on, though. But I just think you guys need to be cautious with the language you're using before we end up with a serious massacre on our hands that nobody gives a damn about. The language is really, really bad right now. I'm trying to bring on a guest, but we're having a little bit of trouble here. If it doesn't happen, my three favorite people, Handsome, Zeus, and Takesha. Thank you, Gregory. Appreciate that. Folks, thank you for being here on a Sunday. Real quick, someone said the super chat, the Blackish Cracker. Where the link, you old fool? What the link to what? Blackish Cracker. Wow. Paul, good afternoon. Paul, are you there? Okay, Paul came up, but apparently something's going on with the audio there. Get in touch with Trump and tell him why. Folks believe Trump. They don't believe my ass. They believe Trump, suggesting that crime is down around the world because we're taking in all the criminals. 66%. Crime is down 66% in Venezuela. Is there ever any point in U.S. history where our crime rate dropped that much? 66% it's down in Venezuela because they're sending all of their criminals here. If you are a Venezuelan immigrant in America and Trump gets reelected, you need to deport yourself, because being deported as a Venezuelan immigrant that's here undocumented, getting deported is your least worry. You'd be hoping to get to the southern border safely because everybody thinks you're really bad. That's not true. Google it, says Mike Harris. Yeah, I don't need to Google if crime is down 66% in Venezuela. I think that's insane. No, I don't need to Google it. Show me the Trump facts. I want to see the 66% reduction. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see it, but you can hear it, but you're not going to see that. That's insane. If crime was down that much, you'd have a hell of a lot more Venezuelans over here committing crime. But here you go again.
Oh, so let's just call it migrant crime. We have a new category. You know, you have vicious crimes, you have violent crimes, you have all these. Now we have migrant crimes, and they're rough. They're rough, and it's going to double up, and you see what's happening. You know, throughout the world right now, I don't know if you know this, crime is way, way down. You know why? Because they sent us their criminals. That's why. It's true. It's true. They sent, Venezuela is down 66% because they sent us their gang members and their gangsters. They sent us their drug dealers and their murderers.
Now, real quick, wow, that just gets worse and worse, but he was fact-checking Biden. Trump himself was fact-checking Biden during the State of the Union address. I would like to see somebody that's a big number, by the way, 66%. Shit, Venezuela sounds like a really safe place right now. 66%.
Murderers, they're all coming into our country. And Venezuela now, their crime is down 66%. And all over the world, crime is down because they've sent them to the United States of America. We have a stupid president that allows this to happen. Stupid.
Now, speaking of a stupid president, this is a shorter clip real quick, but I want you to hear what he said about Joe Biden, because, I mean, it certainly raised my eyebrows.
And remember this, Joe Biden is a great threat to our democracy. He's a tremendous threat to our democracy. His incompetence is the number one reason. Also, he uses the Justice Department, the FBI, to go after his political opponent. Happens to be me. How are we doing? And he's driven my numbers through the roof. Do it one or two more times. How about a couple of more indictments, Joe, you dumb son of a...
Wow. This, usually after a political, and I see in the comments, he crying. After a political gathering, regardless of who wins or loses, both individuals usually shake hands, or at the very least one person concedes and moves on. Some of this stuff is so personal. I don't see how anybody that loses to Trump, but they do. Even, with the exception of maybe Mike Pence, and looks like, what is the female that he just beat? South Carolina governor. Nikki, what is her last name? I can't think of her last name right now. But other than that, they do come around. But yeah, Nikki Haley, yeah, he says things that are so personal. I don't see how you shake hands at the end of it. I mean, wow, some of the stuff he says is bad. Jeez, looking in the comments, support Queens in Palestine. I don't know what that means. Trump don't lie is why. It's just, it's confusing, I understand. No, he's lying. Some of this stuff is not true. You really believe Venezuelan crime is down 66%, while they don't even have a government in place where you can even get true statistics and numbers? How does he know crime is down 66% in Venezuela? That's not true. In the super chat, RHU, thank you, by the way, RHHJ. The narrative is a success in making Trump, the narrative is a success in the making, turning all of us against each other. So, and thank you, RHHJ, for that super chat. What you're basically saying is Trump's narrative is very divisive, and it is successfully creating hatred among each other in this country. I think General Milley, the one that Trump referred to as the most overrated general in U.S. history, said the same thing. When he started no longer supporting Trump, is that he was trying to divide everybody. So what you're saying, it has been stated before by some higher ups. Why the hell should you shake the hand of the guy who was trying to attack you by false investigations? Craig, I need to see evidence of that. I know Trump is going through a hell of a lot of court cases and things like that, but the idea that Biden is the one that's pushing it, I need to see evidence of that. Even if you believe Letitia James or Fannie Willis or Alvin Bragg or what is the other guy, Jack Smith, if you believe any of them had it in for Trump, we can debate that, but where's the evidence that Biden is telling them to do that? Because Trump is suggesting that Biden is the one that's doing all that. The guy who's sleepy, doesn't know where he's at, can't string together a sentence, advanced stages of dementia, is orchestrating all of these higher ups in the judicial field. Some of that don't make sense. Russiagate, he's already proven to be bullshit. He didn't prove Russiagate to be bullshit. Mueller did a 2-year investigation and said, I can't prove that Trump is guilty, but I also can't exonerate him. So he didn't prove it to be bullshit. Just like Biden didn't prove that he is completely innocent with the documents case. The guy just simply said, we're not going to go after him. So no, he didn't prove Russiagate was bullshit. He just he beat it, but he didn't prove it was bullshit. Kind of like when they dismiss a case without prejudice, I think they refer to it as. In other words, you can still pursue this. This is just based on what we're seeing here, it's not enough. But we're going to dismiss this without prejudice. So you still can come after this person. We just don't think what you're presenting now is enough. And I kind of think that's what happened with Russia. The Russian collusion claims is that based on what he saw, it wasn't enough. But he made it clear that if he thought Trump was innocent, he would say that. And he stated, I don't see the guy as innocent. I just don't think there's enough here to convict him. They have the burden of proof and they didn't prove it. It's crazy how you cherry pick. Now that's the same thing that's happening with Joe Biden on the documents case. Same thing, and you want him convicted. It's very similar to that. Real quick, Joe Biden wasn't president. Trump was. Trump was allowed to declassify anything. Biden wasn't. That's the difference, says Bradley Smith. Here's the issue with that. Trump was allowed to declassify documents as president. However, there has to be records of you declassifying shit. Trump got on Hannity and said, I can think a document into declassification. I don't even think the strongest Trump supporters, talking to my beloved MAGA, I don't think even the strongest Trump supporters believe a president can think a document into declassification without telling people. So that hurts Trump's credibility. You can't think shit into declassification. If you declassify a document and I get caught with that document and I can say, look, Trump declassified it. At court, I need to be able to prove when was this document declassified so that we can exonerate me. If there is no record of it being declassified, then it's not declassified. So the documents that Trump was caught with in his possession, if they're declassified and he's innocent, so be it. Show us when. You can't go to court and say he thought it into declassification. He said that. He said I can declassify a document by simply thinking about it. That's what hurts his credibility, saying crazy shit like that. Looking in the comments, Trump himself can declassify anything. He doesn't need permission. No, he doesn't need permission, but he has to record when it happened. If based on what you're saying in the comments there, if Trump could declassify documents, but does not have any duty to record that it ever happened, he could think about them being declassified and keep it in his head, and then he goes home with the documents, that means it is impossible for him to ever be charged with espionage. In other words, let's say I got some nuclear secrets and I want to take these and hand them over to Russian, but the moment I get caught, well, hey, I thought these were declassified. I thought them into, so you would never be caught with a declassified document, because anytime you get caught, you'll just say, hey, I had thought this into declassification before you caught me. I don't have to have any record of it. You didn't get me. I thought this into declassification in my mind 10 minutes before you caught me. Do we really buy into something that's that ridiculous? He can declassify documents as president, yes, but there has to be a record of when it happened. Anything that's caught in anything he has in his possession that he is claiming has been declassified, there has to be a record of when it happened. If there is no record of it being declassified, then it's classified still. It is as simple as that. If you're going to spew bullshit, proof it, says Corey Money. Yeah, that's the point. Prove that the documents are declassified. There is a process for declassification, says Big Boy Smock. Yeah, I believe that's the case. There is a process to declassify documents. If the process has not been implemented, then the document is still classified. And by the way, Trump is on audio recording saying that I had a chance to declassify a document, but I didn't do it, and now it's too late. He's on recording saying that. They got him on tape admitting that he has a document in his possession that he could have declassified, and he did not do it. And he's admitting it's too late to do it now. He's on recording saying that. He's too incompetent to stand trial, says Craig. But yeah, exactly. That's the cherry picking part. They let Biden off because he's too incompetent. Okay, I'm not a fan of that. If what Biden did was criminal, he should be held to account. I mean, if he's too incompetent to stand trial, but he's running for president, yeah, something seems really, really weird about that. I'm not going to defend Biden. That sounds crazy to me, but it does seem like he got away with something, if that's the case. You're shook because you know I'm a Moor. I don't know what that means. Damn, I had a lot of shit to do today. Then I access this. RHHJ, listen, I do got some quote unquote shit to do today as well. I couldn't get a lot of you folks to smash that like button or tap the screen on TikTok. So the participation is pretty damn low anyway. So maybe I decided to do a live on the day I should not have. You don't know what you're talking about. Biden turned all of his over and cooperated. 30 years later, you rob a bank and your neighbor gets caught.
2 more times. How about a couple of more indictments, Joe?
Okay. You rob a bank. 30 years later, you got the money at home hidden in your attic, and you hear your neighbor got caught for bank robbery, and your neighbor's about to do a long time in federal prison. So you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go turn this money in that I kept back when I robbed the bank back in 1995. I'm gonna go turn my money. Look, you've been sitting, you robbed the bank, you got the money, it's a crime. So even though Joe Biden turned over the documents, if it's illegal to have classified documents in your possession, turning them back in doesn't excuse the crime. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to defend Biden. If it's illegal to have the documents in your possession, returning them doesn't excuse the crime. And I see Dennis H. Calhoun said, bad analogy. And look, I get it. Maybe you don't like the analogy. Maybe it is a bad one. I don't know. But in my opinion, if it is a crime to have classified documents in your possession, it is a crime to have classified documents in your possession. It's as simple as that. There is no provision that says if he turns them back in some 15, 20, 30 years later by volunteer means, the crime is forgiven. That's not how it works. If you commit a crime, or if I commit a crime and we turn ourselves in or turn in the stolen merchandise voluntarily, it doesn't excuse the crime. It doesn't. So if Biden had illegal documents on him, if he had classified documents on him and it's a crime to have them, he committed a crime. They just forgave him for it. That's what it is. They just forgave him for it. Comparing it to a bank robbery is not a good enough. Well, let's just say it's a crime. Okay, if bank robbery is too harsh of a term to use, let's just take it at face value. Is it a crime to have classified documents in your possession? Simple as that. If they had went into Biden's house before he voluntarily gave the documents back and caught those documents in his house, would it have been criminal for him to have them in his possession? If it's yes, then it's still criminal if he turns them in voluntarily. It's as simple as that. And now if the documents he had didn't violate any law by having them, then that's different. But if it is a crime to have them in your possession, turning them in voluntarily does not excuse the crime. It just doesn't excuse the crime. So, like I said, it looks like he may have just been forgiven. On YouTube Live, they have to hold the screen for 1 or 2 seconds to access the like button, inform the masses. Thank you, RRJ. I didn't know that. So for you folks, feel free to smash that like button, hold it down for 1 to 2 seconds. Thank you for that tip. I will forever use that. I never knew that. Thank you, RHHJ, and for the super chat and the support as well. It is the intent that matters. Dennis, is not the intent. Nobody gives a damn why you steal or commit a crime. If it's a violation, look, I was trying to speed to get to work because I was late. You still can get a speeding ticket. You can be pregnant trying to get to the hospital in time. If that cop wants to write you a speeding ticket, they still can do it. Nobody cares about the intent. I get your point though, but that's not always an issue. I can have them next. It was planted there. Next, I declassified them now. I have immunity. You're saying that Trump said that? I can have them. Now, did Trump say the documents were planted? I hope he didn't say that. I really hope he didn't say that. Intention is not a get out of jail free card. Plus, intention is interpretation. Well, and I agree with you 100%, Darren. It's not a get out of jail free card. Nobody, look, you got documents in your house and because of the length of time Biden had the documents too, like not only the length of time, but they're in your garage, they're under his television set, they're in unsecure places look, I'm not gonna go after Trump and ignore what Biden was allegedly doing as well. To me, it sounds like they may have given Biden a pass, given Mike Pence a pass to some degree, and went after Trump on that. But that ain't unique to Trump. No matter what crime someone has been charged with in America, from speeding to double murder, there's been people who did it and got away with it. So you can't go to jail, or better yet, go to court and use, well, you didn't charge him as a defense. That'll never work for any of us. No matter what you get charged with, like I said, it could be speeding up to and including murder. Going to court and saying, well, you didn't charge the last guy. If either you committed the violation or you didn't. Saying you didn't charge somebody else will never work. It just doesn't. That's the same argument with January 6th, where you didn't charge Black Lives Matter. Snitching doesn't get you out of a charge. It just doesn't, but that's what folks are trying to do. Anyhow, folks, I do gotta run a few errands today. I want to come and holler back with you guys a little bit, couple hours, come back on here, because I do gotta run, unfortunately, real quickly. So we'll come right back. For you folks on YouTube, I did see a super chat come in there I wanted to address before I ran out of here. What's the number to call in? Blackish Cracker. That name is crazy. The Blackish Cracker. The program is originating from TikTok. So, and I went on YouTube because I know a lot of folks are not big fans of TikTok, the whole China thing, So you're hearing the program that originates on TikTok. I do respond to your comments, but the callers are coming in through TikTok. So that's how you get to yours truly for an actual conversation. I haven't figured out how to do it on YouTube yet. Somebody let me know if there's a way to take viewers, callers on YouTube. I certainly would do it, because the existence of TikTok is in jeopardy. It looks like there's enough politicians in this country that want to get rid of TikTok. So that absolutely could happen. So, but use a Google number. I don't know how to do that, Blackish Cracker. Use a Google number. I don't know how to do that. By the way, keep in mind, I'm talking to you folks on my devices. So how the hell are you going to call me? You wouldn't be able to call me because I got the devices up. So you have to come through the actual platforms. They asked Trump for a year to return the documents, and he didn't. So that is why he was charged. Yeah, the whole obstruction of justice thing is another issue that Trump has that doesn't exist with Biden or Pence, is that they came to him and asked for the documents back, and he refused to do it. So I'm streaming this on my phone as I can't take calls. Yeah, Trevor, thank you. Appreciate you folks.